I just want to say that my due date was the 1st of April. This did change a lot throughout my pregnancy and it just kept getting earlier, but it ended up being the 1st of April as my official due date. So about 3 weeks prior to my due date, she actually booked me in for a sweep, and she booked that in for the 31st of March. So it was the day before my due date. And I knew in my head that I was not making it to my due date or to this sweep appointment. Like, I knew she was going to be here before that. I don't really think anyone believed me because it's not really a known thing to be early with your first. You're normally like really late with your first baby, I think. Well, that's what everyone says anyway. I knew in myself that something had switched. Something felt different in me and I knew she was coming. Like, I could feel my body preparing for labour. It's really hard to describe and I'll never ever be able to describe the feeling to anybody, but you'll know what I mean if it happens to you. But my baby girl proved me right because I was early. The 23rd of March came around and my boyfriend was getting ready to leave for work. It was about 10 to 7. I got out of the bed, didn't feel anything different, like literally just got out of bed, walked into the kitchen to say bye to him, and I just sat down on the sofa and then I felt water coming out of me. It wasn't a gush, I didn't feel a pop, I didn't hear a pop, like there was nothing happened. I just felt water coming out of me. I had a pair of my boyfriend's boxers on at the time, so I literally just like took them off. I looked and there was like a lot of water just in the boxers and there was just continuous water coming out of me, and I was literally just like to Tyler, I think my waters are broken, and he was just like, what? Like, I don't really think he believed it and I don't really think I believed it either. I thought it was going to be like a false, I don't know what I thought it was going to be, but I didn't think it was going to be my waters. And we both just kind of stood there in a bit of shock, like, because I don't think either of us ever thought the day would come that I went into labour, because that 9 months felt like a long time, and it was weird. Like, I'd kind of just got in the mindset that I was never giving birth. Like, it just felt like it was never going to happen. So I think we was both just really in shock and didn't believe it. I was like, right, just set off for work, be prepared to come back because I do think it's my waters. I'll ring the hospital, see what they say. He sets off and I ring the hospital and they're like, yeah, it sounds like your waters are broken. Just come in when you're ready, we'll check and we'll go from there. So I was like, cool. But then I realised that that day was actually, so it's a Thursday and I do a prep day every Thursday. And I was adamant that I wanted my hair washed, I wanted to be shaved, I wanted to feel good going into labour. So I was like, well, I've not done my prep day. Like, I was due to do my prep day that day because it was Thursday. So I was like, no, like, I rang my boyfriend, I was like, you're going to have to come back. They think it's my waters, we need to go to the hospital. I was like, but don't rush back, I am getting in the shower. So literally, like, my waters are just breaking. And I just get in the shower. I washed my hair, I shaved, got out of the shower, dried my hair, moisturised. I was ready to go, like, straightened my hair, I was ready. My boyfriend gets back and then I realised that I didn't have any dry shampoo. And there was a few bits that I needed before going into labour that I'd not got, because this is about 2 weeks before my due date at this point, and I didn't expect to be going into labour. So I'd not really got 100% prepared. I had most things, but there was a couple of bits that I needed, and dry shampoo is literally like my life. No matter if my hair's freshly washed, I will put like a whole bottle of dry shampoo in it. I just love it. So I was like, no, I need you to get me some dry shampoo. Like, I can't go to the hospital without dry shampoo. So he runs to Tesco whilst I'm drying my hair. Water's still breaking. Like, there's still water coming out of me. He goes to Tesco, I dry my hair, get ready, comes back, and we head to the hospital. We get there at about 9 a.m. So about 2 hours later, we get there at 9 a.m. Obviously tell them what's happened. They checked my pad, so they didn't actually have to check inside of me, and it came up as, I don't know what they call it, I forgot the word for it, but it came up as obviously my waters and not just like wee, because I think they thought that I'd just weed myself or something. So I was waiting in triage and they got in a midwife to come and speak to me, and she kind of basically said to me, so bearing in mind she wouldn't have said this if she'd have known how far along I actually was at this point, but no one had actually checked me, so no one knew. So she wouldn't have said what she was going to say if they'd have checked. But she said, you've got 2 options. You can either go home and wait for it to all start and then come back by tomorrow morning if nothing's happened, or you can stay and we'll induce you. I was like, right, I'm here, like I've prepared myself, I brought my hospital bag with me, like I'm ready, like I'm in the zone, I'm ready to have this baby, so there's no chance you're getting me to go home and come back, like I'm having this baby. Me and my boyfriend discussed it. I was like, no, I'm having it, like we're staying. At this point, can I just say my waters are still just gushing out. I had a hoodie and leggings on. My leggings were completely soaked, like it had gone through the pad, they were completely soaked, and I'd only packed like a pair of joggers to go home in. Like I didn't want to overpack with clothes. Then I had to wait to go and see a doctor just for him to kind of discuss about being induced and tell me like the pros and cons, blah blah blah. So I'm waiting, literally just waiting, like where I'd normally wait for an appointment or anything. So there's other people sat there and I'm just, there's water just going all over me, which was not fun. And I'm like, right, I'm gonna have to put these joggers on out of my case, but then I'm not gonna have anything to come home in. I get changed, put these joggers on, still just leaking through, but I'm just accepting it at this point, just sat there. Then we spoke to this doctor who spoke me through like being induced, what the risks are, all of that, and like the process, and that it could be a really long process if like it doesn't work, things like that. And then he was like, yeah, so it might be about a 4-hour wait for you to go down to a bed. So I'm like, oh right, like great, so I've got 4 hours to sit here. And I'm like, right, me and my boyfriend discussed, I needed a few bits. I knew I needed snacks, I knew I needed Polaroid film for my camera, and I knew I needed a change of clothes to come home in, because at this point I'd put everything on and I'd got water all over it. Like, right, it's gonna be a 4-hour wait, you just go get all the stuff done and then just come back. So he literally gets to the car in the car park of the hospital, and the woman comes out and says, Mia, we're taking you down. And I was like, great, I've just sent my boyfriend out, so that's fun. So I'm like, I ring him, I'm like, you need to come back. Rang him, he came back in, and I'm in a shared room at this point. So one of them with like the curtains, you know, that just separates like the beds. And I think there was just one other girl on the other side of me. And then by the end of it, I think there was another girl as well. So there was literally just like 2 of us. And she was in a lot of pain, may I add. So that did not help. She'd had the pessary, and she sounded like she was genuinely dying. And that was making me absolutely petrified. I just kept looking at my boyfriend like, oh my God, like I'm not going to make it out of this. So I'm in this bed and she's like, right, we're just going to monitor you and see what happens. I knew nothing like crazy was going to happen at this point, so I said to my boyfriend, get what you need to get for me and then just come back, like nothing's going to happen, you may as well just get it done now. He goes back out, I get strapped up to be monitored, and then literally as soon as he leaves, bearing in mind he's going home, which was about 25 minutes away from the hospital, to get my clothes, he's going to Tesco to get snacks, and he's going to Argos to get Polaroid film. So he's not exactly going to be super quick. But I'm just laid on this bed with my straps on, the pink and blue straps, which I've actually got with me, like I've kept them. As soon as he leaves the hospital, pain. I just sat, I'm in agony at this point, like I'm in a lot of pain. I didn't know what a contraction felt like, so I didn't know what I was feeling. Like I'd felt the ones during pregnancy, but I would just like to say nothing like the ones that you'll feel in labour. Nothing like. Literally as soon as he left, I was just feeling a lot of pain, and I thought, this is just typical, like now that he's gone, me saying everything's fine, he's gone and I am in pain. So the midwife comes back in and she's like, on our monitors it's saying that you're having like really like you're having contractions really often, are you feeling them? She was like, because sometimes the machine can pick up like wrong things. She's like, are you feeling these contractions? And she was 100% expecting me to be like, no, don't know what you're talking about. And I was like, yeah, no, I'm feeling them, like I'm in pain. And she was like, oh right, okay. She goes away, she comes back and she's like, right, so we're actually not going to induce you because you're already doing it yourself, like your contractions are literally like 2 minutes in between. So she was like, so we're just going to leave you to your own devices. She took me off the monitors, and she said, we'll keep checking on you, we're going to come back later on and we'll check on you. If you need anything, just buzz. And at this point, I am getting in pain. Like, the contractions are really close together. I felt like I wasn't really getting any chance to even recover from the last one before the next one came. I buzzed and I was like, I need some painkillers. Like, I am really in pain. So she brought paracetamol and she was like, here you go. If you need anything stronger, let us know. So I took this paracetamol and did not do anything. Like, it absolutely did not work. I'm just going to recap because I feel like I've just spoken. I've not even looked at my notes and I've missed a lot out. So I got to the hospital at 9 a.m. and at 2 p.m. I got taken down to the shared bed. So there was a bit of a wait. So that's when I got taken down to be monitored. And then at 3 p.m. is when my boyfriend left. So about an hour later, he left and went to get all of the stuff. And at about 10 to 5, my boyfriend got back. And just as he got back, they came to do my cervical exam. So it's 10 to 5 at this point. And my boyfriend got back and the woman comes in to do my cervical check, which I was really dreading because I'd heard a lot of bad things about them. I was very uncomfortable. I wouldn't say it was exactly painful, but it was uncomfortable. She checked me and then she was like, wow, okay, you're 4 centimetres. We're just going to take you down to the labour ward. We'll just take you down and get you on gas and air. So I was like, right, cool, that works for me. I did start to panic a little bit inside, but I think because I was in that much pain with the contractions, I weren't really actually thinking about what is going to happen. Then I go down at about 5:30 is when they actually took me down to the labour room. 40 minutes later, and it felt like a lifetime because I just needed some pain relief. Like, I was in agony. They took me down to, it was like a labour birthing room. Like, it wasn't your typical hospital room. Because I was low risk throughout my whole pregnancy, I could have like this birthing suite. So it had a pool. It didn't have like the hospital bed. It had like more of a sofa thing that you could give birth on, and obviously the pool. Then I was like, right, I'm going to get in this bath. I'm going to get in the pool because I love a bath and I feel like it would help with the pain. I get in, they set up the gas and air. I felt like the gas and air was doing absolutely nothing. It was making it so much worse for me because every time I was having the gas and air for every contraction, which was literally like a minute in between, can I just say, at this point, my contractions, I didn't even have a chance to breathe between them. I'm sat in this pool with the gas and air, and every time I had it, I was literally going to my boyfriend like, I need a drink. I'd have a drink and then my next contraction would come and I'd be back on the gas and air. And they just kept saying like, no, like, you're probably just not doing it right, like, breathe. And I ended up doing it right, but it was not working, like, at all for me. I knew I didn't want the epidural. That was a no for me personally. And at this point I was like, I don't want the gas and air. I don't want it. I was in the pool for quite a while of my, like, labour. And the contractions, like I said, literally, I wouldn't even say a minute in between. Like, they were really, really soon after each other. I think I had one breath and then the next one would be coming. It was a couple of hours later and I really just needed to push. So I'm in this pool and I'm like, I need to push, like, telling these midwives I need to push, and they're like, yeah, just do it, like, go with whatever your body's telling you. They definitely didn't believe me that I needed to push. I think they thought I was lying because it was so early on. They were probably thinking, you're literally 4 centimetres, like, you don't need to push. But I did. I really needed to push. It felt like I needed to go to the toilet really badly. I know people say that, and a lot of people have told me that's what it feels like, but it really does feel like that. Like, it's not a great feeling. So I said to these midwives, I was like, I need to get out of this pool. Like, I need to go to the toilet. I sit on this toilet. I did go to the toilet. It didn't help. I still felt the feeling. So I was like, right, okay, this is it. Like, this is what it feels like. This is birth. This is that feeling that everyone's spoken about. I didn't just need the toilet. Like, this is the feeling. So I was like, right, cool. I get back in the pool for a little bit, like, not even long. It must be about 8 o'clock, I think, because that's when they swapped over to the night nurses. So the night midwife came in. I remember them saying like, oh, we've got to go now, like, we really wish we could stay, like, I don't think you'll be far off from giving birth. And I was like, no, you don't want to stay, like, I've been a nightmare, like, I'm just screaming. I was like, no, like, we really do. Like, it was quite funny. I remember saying that, and I said a lot of weird things in labour. Like, you do not care. You do not care what you're saying. So they left, the new midwife came in, and as soon as she came in, I was like, I am getting out of this pool. I need to go onto that toilet. As soon as I sat on that toilet, There was no way they were getting me off of it. I was not getting off that toilet. Obviously, I'm sat on a toilet, so I had no pain relief from now on. I'd stopped the gas and air. I was having nothing. I was doing this, just me. And you know what? It was the best decision ever. I wish I'd just not even started the gas and air. I'm sat on the toilet and I'm just pushing. Like, I'm pushing with every contraction. Hello? Are you awake? So yeah, I'm pushing with every contraction, and it really just feels like you need the toilet. So I'm just pushing. And then the woman's like, look, you need to stop pushing. Like, we need to check how far you are. She checks me, and it did take her about half an hour to get me off that toilet. I was really fighting. Not fighting with her, but I was really fighting it. I couldn't move. I was in that much pain. I physically could not move off of the position that I was in. Genuinely could not move. She gets me onto the little sofa thing, and she's like, right, I need you in this certain position. And I was like, no, I can't. Like, I can't move. I'm in absolute agony, and I'm like on all fours, and I'm like, can you not just do it like this? Like, I can't move. And she was like, no. So I ended up getting in the position. She checked me. That was really, really painful. But I think it was just because of the contractions and all of the other things. So she checks me, and she's like, right, you're 8 centimeters. You need to stop pushing. Like, there's no point pushing. I was like, no, like, I need to push. So I go back onto the toilet. Like, I ran to this toilet. It was like, I needed to be on it. So I ran back to the toilet after she checked me, and I'm sat there, and I'm saying to her, like, I need pain relief. And I think it was just an in the moment thing. Like, I was in a lot of pain, and I really just wanted pain relief. And I was genuinely thinking about the epidural. It wasn't going to happen. I knew I wasn't going to do it, but I was second guessing myself at this point because of how much pain I was in. And I said to her, I said, look, I need some pain relief. I'm sat on this toilet, and I'm like, I am in pain. Please give me some pain relief. What can I have other than gas and air and other than the epidural? Hey, make an appearance, don't you? Here's my little 2-month-old. I don't know why she looks like she's got a bald patch on her head. I think it's how she's been asleep. She is just going to have to join me for the rest of the video, otherwise I won't get this finished. Yeah, so I was saying to her, like, I need some pain relief. What can I have? And I don't know what she called it, but there was an injection that I could have. What happened next, I'm really glad did, because I, personally, at this point, I wasn't having, like, any pain relief, and I kind of wanted it to stay that way. I wanted to just, for my own sake, like, obviously, anybody that gives birth, any way that they do it is amazing, and props to them. But for me, I just wanted to do it, no pain relief. I thought, I'm in this now, like, let's do it. So I'm glad that what happened next did happen, because I didn't actually end up getting this injection. But she goes to get the injection. I'm still in the toilet. My boyfriend's next to me, and I am pushing. And he's like, right, you need to stop pushing. Like, she's just told you not to push. Why are you still pushing? And I'm like, I need to. Like, I can't stop. My body, I generally couldn't stop this pushing if I tried. Is that funny? Is that funny? And then I did a push on one of the contractions, and I generally could feel something. And I didn't know what it was. And I was like, I said to my boyfriend, I was like, I can feel something. Like, I'm pretty sure she's coming. Like, I can feel something. And he's like, he started stressing out then, because he thought, oh my God, like, is she going to give birth on this toilet whilst there's no midwife in here? So he's proper stressing. He's like, where is she? Like, what is she doing? She comes back in with this injection. And I'm like, as soon as she literally opens the door, I'm like, I can feel something, like, please come and check. She comes and checks, like, literally thinks I'm lying, because she's just checked me and I'm 8 centimeters. So she didn't really believe me. She just looks under me and goes, oh my God, there's a head. She could see the head. And then she's like, right, we need to get you off of this toilet. Like, we need to get you in position. You need to come off the toilet now. And I'm like, no. Like, I'm like, I can't get off. I was in that much pain, I couldn't move. And if I moved, it was like excruciating pain. So I'm like, I really can't get off this toilet. But obviously I'm like screaming this a little bit. I'm like, really can't get off this toilet at all. And I'd say about 15 minutes later, they get me off the toilet, and they get me onto this like sofa bed thing. And I'm like, I have my arms on it like behind me, and I'm like hovering. So like my bum's in the air, if that makes sense. And yeah, so then the pushing really started. It was about 30 minutes between now and her coming out. So on every contraction, I'm just pushing with all my mighty. I will include a clip because I did record my labour. I was just like screaming through every contraction really. But do you know what? I'd say hats off to myself because I did it with no pain relief. For me personally, that was just the best way. And a head came out, like a head fully was out, and I thought at this point a whole body had come out, because that's what it felt like. It was like it was the biggest push, and it felt like a whole body had come out. Then I just lay there, and I've got my head back, like I'll include the clip, but I'm just laid there, because it was weird, because I actually got like a minute before the next contraction, so I genuinely thought I'd done it. I thought I was done, and then I was like, it just felt weird, like it felt like they were waiting for me to do something. So I was like, is she out? But like I was crying, like I was like, is she out? And they was like, yeah, and I was like, oh, like, in my head I'm like, oh, thank God. And then they're like, yeah, her head's out. And I'm like, oh my God, okay. In my head I'm thinking, right, I thought I just pushed her whole body out. And then at that point the next contraction came. Think about 3 pushes. I think about 3 pushes, she was out. The weirdest feeling ever. I instantly just felt empty. She came out, they put her on my chest. I generally didn't know what to do. She was on my chest and I was like, no, like I'm gonna hurt her. Like she was so small, she just felt so fragile, and I was terrified, like I didn't know what to do. I'm just laid there, like with her on my chest on this weird sofa. And it was really overwhelming, like I didn't really know what was going on. After that, they obviously took her to get cleaned up and things. My boyfriend cut the cord. Yeah, they cleaned her up, and I actually needed a stitch. My biggest fear was having to be stitched, and I was like, do you need to stitch it? Like, do you really need to? And she actually took a picture of it and then showed me. She was like, this is what it looks like I kind of do need to stitch it. So I was like, right, you're gonna have to then. So then they brought in a hospital bed, because like I said, there wasn't one in this room. They brought in an actual hospital bed, laid me on there, legs up, and she stitched me. I know this is a bit TMI, but I want to be honest, I didn't tear like at the bottom. Like, I know it's common for people to tear from like hole to hole, if that makes sense, like backwards, but I just tore at the front. Like it wasn't really that deep, and I'm glad I tore there, to be honest, because it's just, I think it was the best place for me to tear. So I got that stitched up, and she kind of just said like, you can just chill now, we're gonna give you some time as a family, you can have a shower, like get sorted, get changed, we'll get the paperwork sorted, and then once we've done her checks, you can go home. It was all done in the day, really. So just to recap, because I feel like I've just missed loads out here. So my waters broke at 6:50 a.m. Got to the hospital at 9 a.m. They took me down to the bed share to get monitored at around 2 p.m. Then at about 10 to 5, so 4:50, that's when my boyfriend came back from like getting everything sorted, and that was when I got checked, and that's when they found out I was 4 centimeters. Then I got took down to my labor room at 5:30 p.m. Then I don't know any times after that because I didn't check my phone whilst I was in labor. 9:13 p.m. she was born, and we left at 2 a.m. So it was literally all done within the day, which I am so proud of myself. I can't believe I got her out that quick. Did think I was going to be in there for at least another day. Now looking back on it, I want to do it again. Like, I miss my labour so much, and there is so much that I would do different. I would just genuinely sit on the toilet the whole labour. That is pretty much my birth story. I've definitely missed things out that I'm going to watch this back and be really annoyed about. If any of the clips seem like jumpy or like choppy, it's probably because I remembered something and then like put that in where it should be. That was pretty much what happened. I can't believe that she's 2 months. Really can't.